Sustainability, environmental care, reuse and recycling are becoming increasingly prevalent in the way we live. The future is about finding better ways to protect and care for our world and its resources. This colour palette reflects our fresh mindset and desire for new ways to reuse materials. We can continually question how things are currently done and revisit the way our parents and grandparents used products and materials more wisely. Restore energy and create new life with colours such as Arrow River, or escape somewhere remote and refreshing with Pigeon Bush and Cape Reinga.
One of the big influences at the moment is the return to kind of eco-friendly, so very much kind of natural products, natural colours, lots of wood, so we're looking at kind of taupes, browns, earthy colours, greens, and very much muted tones and natural colours.
We're returning more and more to tactile, natural, handmade things. So many handmade timber products as well, which I just think is so ironic.
And there we have our greens. Obviously, when you look at the palettes of the greens, you know, there's predominantly yellow greens. I mean, it was either olive base or it was sort of the underlying influence of yellow. Very bright and very light, predominantly. Textures also come into play here. I mean, certainly all of the information that we have on where people want to use textures, and for an example, you know, obviously the product Suede. Whenever people want to use those sort of products, they tend to want to use earthy colours, and we've done a lot of research on this. So we've now introduced a couple of new colours into the Dulux New Zealand Colours of New Zealand range, and that is Classic Suede and also Pistachio Mousse. So both of these just suit this sort of colour palette beautifully, obviously giving you a bit of high and low variation as well, just from the natural properties of the product. So sustainability, environmental care, I mean, we've all heard it before for the many, many years now. Whenever we attend these European meets for Colour Marketing Group, often there's a lot of German manufacturers coming to these meetings. And, I mean, the things that the country do, I mean, Germany do as a whole in manufacturing is just absolutely amazing from a product life cycle perspective. You know, when you buy a Miele appliance in Germany and you've had it for 10 years and finally it's, you know, run out of its life, you actually hand it back to the manufacturer and they actually have to reuse a lot of the materials again. So the companies actually own the life of that product from the moment it's actually produced to the end of its life cycle. So they've got quite an amazing sort of logistical program that they obviously do, and there's a lot of companies in Sweden and also Switzerland that do the same. So some of the interesting things that we read about, and I tell you what, Milan this year, and if anyone went to Milan, it was a little bit smaller, I suppose, than past years, and obviously the GFC hasn't helped in that respect. But one of the examples that certainly we loved was the Ottocento bath, and that is a standard bath. You know, you'd see it in anyone's sort of bathroom. It just looks like a normal bath we'd have here. But it's actually made up of composite material that maintains water temperature, so you don't have to keep topping up the bath with hot water. You can have it in an hour or, you know, an hour and a half, you know, and get really wrinkly. But, you know, you don't have to keep topping it up. So it's amazing those small things that designers are coming up with that really make an impact on the environment, you know, obviously as small as that is. Other examples, and we probably all would have seen over the years, cedar scented balls that we put in our cupboards to stop moths. It's a natural timber, obviously, moth repellent. One of the designers at Milan actually showed the laundry concept. The designer was Terry Dwan, and he just showed it was a simple concept of beautiful cupboards in this scented cedar, and the whole idea was obviously its natural moth repelling properties. From an environmental perspective, obviously, there's just so many things that are being done. But with the GFC, a lot of the media attention came off the the whole green movement, if you like. We're now starting to see a little bit more coming through in the green movement from a media perspective, which tends to sort of push the manufacturers and products that little bit further, which is good to see. So some of the inspiration for our palettes, there was green everywhere. Once again, kitchen appliances, there was just so much to see. Obviously ceramics, dinnerware, glassware, once again, all the mixes, the KitchenAid, there was lots of that lovely yellow, fresh citrus green. I mentioned about the importance of bringing old furniture back. A lot of the really modern contemporary labels in Paris and in London, they're bringing in the old sort of style of furniture as well. So even if it is brand new, it looks very much like something you'd see in retro 50s, something like this. Another thing we loved, this was at one of the galleries we attended for designer days. This particular area down here looks like moss, and it really did look like moss. It's actually a rug. It was so lifelike, we actually had to go and feel it. It was absolutely amazing. It was so heavily textured. I don't know how it would go with dogs or kids, but it looked amazing. Other areas, and I talked about, bringing back a bit of the nostalgic feel, but making a bit of a modern twist. This gorgeous dresser here was actually brand new, but it had a really lovely Victorian feel about it with a high gloss lacquer in this great yellow green. I saw a lot of yellow green in office equipment as well, desks and filing cabinets and that sort of thing, and there's some examples down here. Once again, it was paired with grey or neutral, but really high shine, which is interesting because a lot of the furniture we've seen the last few years has been quite matte. So interesting to see it's coming in the office furniture as well. This was another example of designer days for Max Alto, and this particular designer had created this lovely moss sort of feel as well. We saw a lot of that sort of example, really trying to bring that natural feeling inside. And one of the galleries we attended actually had real grass on its floor. It was just beautiful. And they were encouraging people to take their shoes off and walk through the grassed area. It was really lovely.